Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Stanley Parable, where we have a monitor inside a monitor inside of a monitor. Many of you may have noticed that there is a slight audio problem with the previous videos. The game sounds aren't quite loud enough. I would have changed that, but unfortunately, I wasn't able to edit them. I've been unable to fix that problem. That should be corrected by now. I've changed the audio codecs I'm using, so everything should be working fine from here on end. To account for that, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and try to redo the story arcs that I've done previously. But first thing I'm going to do is I actually want to listen to the narrator and obey his instructions and see what happens. So let's do that. Loading. The end is never, the end is never. It's never the end is never. Sorry. I can read. Yep. Oh, I apologize in advance if some meowing appears on my audio recording. My cat's been complaining all day. He wants to go outside, but he's not allowed to today. Guess he didn't come in early enough last night, or something like that. I don't know. I wasn't the one who said he wasn't allowed to go outside. Kitty. Yeah, he's just staring at me, waiting to go outside.
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
We've all heard this, so we've all heard that, so I'm gonna go skip it. Okay. There we go. Well, can I turn off this computer? I did do some reading, and no, none of these doors will be able to open, so I don't have to go up to every door trying to open them.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Let's save some power by turning off all these computers. But yeah, like I said in a previous video, you should really also make sure your monitor's turned off. Those, or better investment, those smart bar things where you turn off one device, everything else gets its power cut. If you set those things up with your tower being the primary power supply thing, that's great too.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Like I said, this time I want to go through and actually obey the narrator, see what happens.
Yet there was not a single person here
Tips
either.
for not getting fired.
Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
I love these tips. How to solve a dispute with a coworker. Using slides to assure employees that everything is okay. Slick blue graphic on the header. Yep, this one has that. Some bevel on the text. Can't quite tell. Whoa. Everyone is unique, you most of all. Yeah, they're all unique. Well, all the girls have the same hairdo. All the guys have the same hairdo. Number of slides on this chart. Slides, charts, and slides, charts. Rate at which charts on the same slide depict the same information. 14's that number there. Rate of increase in graphs per slide. Please, no more charts. I'm begging to stop. Boss appreciation minute. Your boss appreciation minute worksheet. Circle the top 20 things you love most about your boss. Fill out a triplicate and return to your boss appreciation schedule. Solve an interpersonal conflict. If you ever find yourself in conflict with another diligent employee, like yourself, but more inclined towards conflict, unless you're the kind of person who initiates. I wasn't able to read that. Okay, that's enough, guys. Wait, did that say mitosis? That totally says mitosis. Metamorphosis, comatose. Okay, that's enough, like I said. Okay, it just loops there. So we saw all of them. Broom closet. This is totally open while I was lied to.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
There must be something here now that you said that. Secret compartment? Like a switch or something?
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Ooh, that's ominous, but we'll have to explore that another time. Like I said, I want to listen to the guy this time. This boss is a nice worksheet. Executive bathroom. It's like,
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him?
fireplace.
What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
And going down. Elevator scene's always the most exciting. Elevators are a good start for background loading, though.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Oh, there's the light.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
That's subtle. Oh, there's an escape. I'm gonna have to remember that. There's so many options.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life.
He's like
Their
487,
true
something
nature
like that, isn't he?
Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too
Fired.
horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life
That's
in someone
really
else's
bright.
control? Never. It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof, the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Okay, everything's dark. And what just happened? I do have control, because I am seeing some
Blackness.
slight.
and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes! He had won! He had defeated the machine! Unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him. For it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know.
In
It
England.
was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Yay, happy ending. It can be boring sometimes. Oh look, I beat it. Yay. And now we start over, right? Yep. Okay, let's try to go in that
All of his
girlfriend route.
co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of two open, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Hey look, it's the guest star of tonight, the cat.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone
wonder if
else
jumping
can
down
be
there will
difficult,
kill me.
But the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been
There's a
neglecting,
door
Stanley.
down there.
Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself, to put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
Oh, that scared me.
That's her, Stanley.
Oh, yeah, I jumped.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about...
You're damn.
Gotcha! Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
Can we go down that way? Wait.
Sorry, but you're in my story now.
No, I kind of wanted to go down that way.
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
Oh, right, I remember this drill. Is that
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
E.
Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button, Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life. But in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
9 to watch TV?
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he
Alright,
imagined that
this.
one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth.
This isn't a bad apartment.
Excited him terribly.
That clock doesn't have the game real time on it.
So he went further. He imagined that he came to 2 open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door.
I forgot how long this one was.
The thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold.
Prepared dinner.
As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths
I like how the
and
mannequin stays.
destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable.
Kids, I thought
It was such
There
a
was no
wonderful
kids.
fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time.
yeah, after they say
But
there's
there
no
is
life.
no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one. And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it. You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
Question
I
nothing.
can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I
It'd
simply
be nice
play
if
to
these
my
directions kind of
intended
showed up on the
purpose,
monitor.
the same as Stanley.
Like that one.
We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again.
Please
And Stanley
die.
pushed a button. And I tried again. And Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
Whoa. I don't remember this. Okay, we've started over. I think, unless it's the one with the line. Alright, this is the one where the narrator's gone. And the monitors are back on. This time they say stuff, though. Can I zoom? No. Oh, I can just use mouse left kick. Ah, that'd be really handy if, like, you could use... What? That didn't happen last time. Oh, I'm on the desk. No. Let's see. Which story are we on now? I can't remember.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Nope.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Wow. Yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
If I remember this place. Here we go.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
You know what? I want to explore. I want to go down here.
But in his
Ooh.
eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
That's great. I wonder if there's actually a way to get down there, though. Let's try it.
All of his coworkers
Yeah,
were gone.
we'll see if
What
I
could
actually
it
manage to
mean?
go over them all.
Stanley
Each
decided
one.
to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Does this monitor? No. So the monitors are randomized each time? I wonder what will happen. I wonder what happens when I fill that up on enough playthroughs. Wait, what? I don't remember this.
When
Okay.
Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors,
Nope.
this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly
There needs
well.
to be a sprint button or
Perhaps he
something.
wanted to stop
Whoa.
by the employee lounge first,
I can
just
crash.
to admire it. The lounge was sublime, a work of art. What was it about this room that called so deeply and so personally to Stanley? Its grace? Its subtle charm? No. Stanley knew it was something deeper. Something darker.
Okay, so it looks like the dialogue in this room is randomized a bit.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Let's have a look around. Can't jump up on these. No. Doesn't look like there's actually a way down there. Penalty for misuse of cargo lift $1,000. Penalty for jumping off $5,000. So there might be a way to survive
Look,
it.
Stanley, I think
Maybe if I
perhaps
jump
we've
on the
gotten off
truck.
on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in... But
Nope.
in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
I am very powerful. What are you talking about? I respawn. Anyways, I think I'm going to call this an episode. We'll come back next time and I will continue seeing if I can fill up that monitor over there.